Non-injury is the first and foremost ethical principle of every Hindu. In Sanskrit, this virtue is called ahimsa. The Mahabharata extols its importance, saying ahimsa is the highest dharma, it is the highest purification, it is also the highest truth from which all dharma proceeds. An excellent definition is found in the Sandilya Upanishad. Ahimsa is not causing pain to any living being at any time through the actions of one's mind, speech, or body. Note the threefold nature of this non-hurtfulness. It applies not only to our actions, but also to our words and even our thoughts. Is the principle of non-violence absolute under all circumstances? My Gurudeva Savaya Subramanya Swami answered this question by stipulating a few regrettable exceptions. The first exception applies to extreme circumstances, such as when faced with imminent danger, in which case individuals may elect to injure or even kill to protect their life or that of another. Another exception applies to those who are members of a police force or armed forces. However, even those individuals should not use violence unless absolutely necessary. The Los Angeles Police Department, as an example, has a policy called minimum use of force that is in consonance with this Hindu viewpoint. It reads, the police should use physical force to the extent necessary to secure observance of the law or to restore order when the exercise of persuasion, advice, and warning is found to be insufficient to achieve police objectives. And police should only use the reasonable amount of physical force which is necessary on any particular occasion for achieving a police objective. A common justification for using violence is retaliation for injuries to you, members of your family, your religion, or nation. There are many in the world today who believe that in those instances you have a duty to personally retaliate. This is commonly referred to as the eye for an eye mentality. However, Hinduism does not support this idea. In fact, our oldest scripture, the Rig Veda, speaks against it, saying, "Return not blow for blow, nor curse for curse, neither meanness for base tricks. Shower blessings instead." Rather than retaliation, Hinduism favors using society's established channels for finding a remedy. Take as an example a common movie plot. Someone shoots and kills your brother during a robbery, and the rest of the film is devoted to your chasing down the robber and shooting him to punish him and get even. What then happens in the next life, the sequel? There is definitely a negative karma to be faced for killing and revenge. Perhaps another robbery will take place and you will be killed. Better to let the police take care of the robber. The policeman has taken an oath to uphold the law and therefore creates no negative karma if, in capturing the criminal, he has no choice but to injure him. When it comes to harming others through words, speaking harshly to individuals or yelling at them is obviously included and should be avoided. In addition, there is the more indirect approach of utilizing joking, teasing, gossiping, and backbiting to harm others. How do we know if we are speaking in a way that is harming or that is helping another? An effective fourfold test is to be sure what we are saying is true, kind, helpful, and necessary. If it is, then it will certainly be non-hurtful. You may be wondering how backbiting can hurt someone, as they are not present to hear the criticism. It is the thought force that they feel. The same applies to critical thoughts that we don't verbalize, Both are the most subtle form of injury. My guru described it in an interesting way. When you defile others mentally and verbally, through backbiting, gossip about the happenings in their lives, you are hurting them. You are actually making it difficult for them to succeed, to even persist where they are. They sense, they feel the ugliness that you are projecting toward them. Looking again at our definition of ahimsa from the Sandilya Upanishad, we note the phrase, not causing pain to any living being. In other words, ahimsa extends beyond human beings. It includes animals, insects, and plants as well. A verse in the Yajurveda speaks directly to this idea. You must not use your God-given body for killing God's creatures, whether they are human, animal, or whatever. A way that many Hindus honor this injunction is by following a vegetarian diet. The Thirukkural, an important scripture on ethics written some 2,000 years ago, has an entire chapter on vegetarianism, abstaining from eating meat. It states that vegetarianism is the way of insightful souls who have realized that meat is the butchered flesh of another creature, and that such restraint is an act of greater value than 1,000 ghee offerings consumed in sacrificial fires. A nonviolent approach is even extended to insects. Instead of thoughtlessly killing household pests, stop their entry. Likewise with garden insects or predators. Instead of killing them, keep them away by natural means. A regrettable exception is that when predators, pests, bacteria, and disease threaten the health or safety of human beings or their animals, they may be eradicated. There are two philosophical principles which form the basis for ahimsa. The first is the law of karma, the knowledge that if we harm another, we will be harmed in the future is a powerful motivation to refrain from violence. The Thirukkural's chapter entitled Avoidance of Injuring Others offers pertinent insight. It reads, if a man visits sorrow on another in the morning, sorrow will visit him unbidden in the afternoon. A second basis for ahimsa is the perception of the divine shining forth within all things, all beings, all peoples. When we see the divine in someone, we naturally do not want to hurt them. Pious Hindus even see the divine within people who are acting in evil ways, such as criminals or terrorists, and therefore seek not to harm them. An amazing example of this arose in Bali in 2002 when terrorists bombed a bar, killing over 200 people. The Balinese Hindus held a ceremony that sought forgiveness for the perpetrators. We should guard against taking on the Western perspective that some people are intrinsically evil, the enemy, and therefore it is all right to treat them inhumanely. The law of karma does not distinguish between hurting an enemy or hurting a friend. The Thirukkural affirms, harming others, even enemies who harmed you unprovoked, surely brings incessant sorrow. Beyond these two philosophical bases, the Thirukkural provides two more motivations for nonviolence. The first is that it is simply how high-minded people act. It is the principle of the pure in heart never to injure others, even when they themselves have been hatefully injured. And the second is that it is a way of encouraging the injurer to reform his behavior and give up violence. The Thirukkural puts it well, if you return kindness for injuries received and forget both, those who harmed you will be punished by their own shame. A lack of compassion will obstruct our practice of ahimsa. When we are overly self-centered and oblivious to the feelings of others, we can hurt someone and not even be aware of it. Here are a few suggestions for deepening our sense of compassion for people. One simple way is to take care of animals. This is particularly helpful in teaching compassion to children. They learn to understand the needs of the animal and how to take care of it without unnecessarily disturbing or hurting it. Another way to increase compassion is by gardening and growing plants. For the plant to survive, we need to understand its nature and properly take care of it. We can't put a sun-loving plant in the shade and expect it to do well. We can't overwater a plant that needs a small amount of water and expect it to thrive. Nurturing plants and animals prepares us to care for our fellow human beings. A third suggestion relates to computers and computer games. Unfortunately, these days, many children grow up spending way too much time alone, immersed in a computer, playing often violent video games. This can stunt their normal emotional growth and social development. They can become strangers to compassion, lacking in healthy feelings for others. A more balanced upbringing is needed. A reasonable amount of computer access balanced out by healthy interaction with family members, friends, and others. Here is a concluding quote from my guru, which beautifully ties together the ideals of nonviolence and compassion. He wrote, "Practice compassion, conquering callous, cruel, and insensitive feelings toward all beings. See God everywhere. Be kind to people, animals, plants, and the earth itself. Forgive those who apologize and show true remorse. Foster sympathy for others' needs and suffering. Honor and assist those who are weak, impoverished, aged, or in pain. Oppose family abuse and other cruelties."